Okay, so we have heard a lot about how Zelensky has, tried to run this entire religion out of Ukraine, and I don't think that that's fair. With me is as my guest is Angelina. Angelina is both a historian and has worked in museums in Odessa, and she has a perspective that you're going to want to hear. Angelina, tell us about a little bit about yourself and your background.
Okay, my name is Angelina, and I'm 36 years old, almost. I have three kids, and I live in Odessa. Well, now I have to live in Odessa region. I worked in a museum, historical museum in Odessa. I was a guide, and I was working in a part of Second World War. I really don't like this theme, but I have to learn this and I have to discover it because it was my work. I was a guide by Odessa and about history of our city. I told our I told yes our people and who asked me to say something and now I graduated the university historical faculty. I'm an archaeologist, so I think I know something about history of my country.
Okay, so we're going to talk about what Stalin did with the church, and then we're going to talk about what has happened recently as Zelensky banned the Russian Orthodox Church in Ukraine, and connect those two things together. Okay, so let's start with the past.
I'm a historian, then I have a lot of documents, and I can send you some kind of it to if someone interested of history of Ukraine and what it begins, why Russia against. Someone said we have to show Americans
Hmm.
and who said that Russian and Ukraine just it's their question. We don't have to any help or not helping because they're just it's their question to find some kind of information about how in Russian or Soviet Union was against to Christians.
Tell me about where you see how Russia, like go back to the original question, where do you see how Russia is kind of tricking Christians because they're holding up these traditional values, but they're really not? Because that's really interesting to me.
Well, about Christians, all this question, I think it's going in USSR because Stalin he was Jewish
Mhm,
and he was in a seminary. He studying Christian university, but he wrote about evolution
mhm,
by Darwin, and
mhm,
he changed his mind and all this question. He changed his mind in seminary, and he said, "So, well, oh, if Christian is false, so why should I learn it?"
mhm.
And he didn't graduated Christian university, so he just say, "I would like to be a kind of I don't know." Uh, a ruler, something. And
Mhm,
he did it. Yeah, yeah. Well, I live in Odessa,
mhm.
and my family live here. Well, now we live in Odessa region. But all we was many years lived in Odessa, and I was a guide of Odessa. I worked in a museum and uh, I told people about Second World War. This was my part of
Okay.
in museum, and then I took some kind of mm, excursions for our city. And a lot of changes became when people try to be try to be free from Tsar or king. He is their
Mhm.
king, and they said this empire is not satisfied us anymore. Let's go to revolution.
Mhm.
And Lenin become and Stalin, but Lenin was not real. Well, he wants to make his empire, but Stalin say, I think I can change something. And when Lenin is passed away, Stalin became more crueler than Lenin,
Mhm.
and all languages have to be punished, or we have to do only one language. It's going to be Russian. We It was very bad times, and for Christians also, because we had in Ukraine a Greek Catholic, Orthodox, and we had also another denominations. And no, it's not good. We have to kill them all. And he became well. Lenin also destroyed churches.
Mhm.
They killed a lot of baptized. Who I mean, that denomination, Baptist, and mm, only Partia, only Lenin, only Stalin. It's the best, and we have a communism, we have a socialism. It's the best you can get.
Is it
So
true that Stalin really infiltrated the churches? Like, would use them like Hitler did the same kinda thing, like, if you can be an established church if you sing to the Nazi songbook. Is it true that Stalin had taken over the, Russian Orthodox Church and did the same kinda thing, or am I misunderstanding something?
yes, well, first he tried to destroy churches. He tried to
Mhm,
destroyed all Christian society, and in our city Odessa, we had a huge building of Orthodox Christians, and he just destroyed. Not Nazi did this, but Soviet Union. They this huge church where when this time a few months ago, Russian again destroyed this building in
mhm.
Odessa. Maybe you saw in news.
Yeah, did.
Uh, that the same building I saw in it 2007 when it's um, rebuilt, removed, and Orthodox became ruled there. But and I saw how they destroyed it. So yes, and he made museums of atheism in all churches
Mhm,
for in all country. I mean,
yeah.
yeah,
That's making quite
also,
a powerful statement when he's doing that. I mean, he knows what he was doing, trying to s
yes, yeah,
show, like, we've taken over. Islam does the same thing. They put a mosque right where a temple or a church used to be, and that's making a powerful statement about how they won. And
yes, and but he changed his mind when war became Second World War. He changed his mind because, like we said, there's no one atheist under.
in a
Uh,
foxhole.
yes, so he said, okay, it's gonna be Orthodox Church, and we will get our agents in there.
Mhm.
So now you see KDBs in Orthodox Church of Moscow, or in all this congregation.
Okay, so
So
let's fast forward now. So we know how Stalin rolled. So is the church, the Orthodox Church in Russia, still controlled that way? And if so, what is their messaging that is now being sent out to the West? Because again, the West is imbibing this idea. Oh, see, Russia's traditional. They have these Christian values. What's happening here? What's the connection?
they say, well, we have the same traditions. Yes, but not. Uh, Orthodox, well, all Christians have the same traditions. This family, this a lot of good things. but we have to look what they're doing. If they're blessing a war, I'm sorry, is it really your tradition? If they say we have to take ours because uh, some long ago it was ours, but okay, well, but we have the independent. We have a we had this independent, and it was by the law. So if we open the Bible, we will say, take don't break this line, your brother, because
Mhm,
you break the law of God.
mhm,
They have their country, you have your country, so don't break this line. So they Russian well, is really the tradition you have. I don't think so. So now we and when I was a child, when I'm growing and I asking my grandma, my mother, all who I can ask about church, why we going to Moscow church, Orthodox
mhm,
Moscow church, if we have our key? Why? Why we have to praying old Russian if we can praying Ukrainian?
mhm.
Why? Nobody can answer me. So I decided to discover this question, and I realized that is politic because Orthodox Church of Moscow is politic and nothing more. Because when they was Stalin's time, so he just said, "You're father of I don't know, um, let, let's just call him Alexei. Father Alexei, you have to, Father Alex, you will have these people in your congregation. So please, they will say their sins, and you will tell us, our department.
So they
Well,
would
and
be informers.
yes, well, and we will understand who are baptized, who are Christians, who against the Stalin, and we will come if we will need, and they will comes, and they comes. It was they call this car black. Mm, Blackbird, I suppose. This car comes in the night
Mhm.
when it was dark and took some kind of people, and nobody see it because Stalin knows that these people or this human is enemy of nation. So we have to change it. A lot of people was also Christians. They confessed to their well fathers-in-law, and a lot of them was disappearing.
So it sounds like that the more religious, and fervent and, true they were, the more likely they were to be sent off to the gulag or something because of the way that that system worked,
Yes, and not only. Well, Gulag, it's
or
uh,
executed or whatever.
yes, yes. Uh, well, churches work like that. Orthodox Moscow Church worked and working like that nowadays. Well, we still have in Ukraine this congregation, and this is bad because they say Putin is good. Let's kill Ukrainians. They live in Ukraine and say, let's kill the Ukrainians because they are Bandera.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
so that's really interesting then. So if I'm hearing you correctly, the current Russian Orthodox Church in Ukraine is still doing the same kind of informing to the Russian government that has been done in the past. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So this makes a lot of sense of why the Ukrainians would then say, "Sorry, you're no longer going to be able to be viable here. This is going to be banned because you are in a state of martial law," and that makes sense in any state of martial law. But it's being cast in the United States as by some. as see Zelensky's cracking down on the church. Where wait a minute, it's not that at all. It's this particular very political informing branch of Russian a tentacle of Russia inside Ukraine. And so is that fair? Don't let me put words in your mouth.
Well, also, all I can say about Russian Orthodox Church, well, it's working the same in Ukraine, in Georgia, and Armenia, in Belarus, everywhere, in Moldova, everywhere they can take it,
Mm.
and they do the same because people believe, well. Church servants, and they think it's good, it's normal. Well, our preacher saying we have to do this, so okay, we will do. My cousin, he died in this war. He was when he was a kid, he was a servant in this Orthodox Church. Well, as I said, we don't know what it is was before Yanukovych came. And when in church servants say we have to pray for Yanukovych, we have to vote for Yanukovych, and
Oh,
we have to vote against Yushchenko, we have to vote against all Ukrainian. We have because Ukrainian is Bandera.
wow, it
Then
was that political. I didn't
yes,
realize it was to that degree. Like that's
yeah.
pretty significant. Okay, so tell me this: is there crackdown on other denominations or religions? Like I understand, like, hey, if you're Jewish, go to your temple, you're okay. You go to your Islamic, go to your, if you're a Protestant, you're okay. Like if you're Catholic, fine. Like there's not a crackdown on anything else except for this particular, or do I have that wrong?
No, only Orthodox. They only
Only
against
Russian
Ukraine.
Orthodox.
Only Russian Orthodox Church. Yes, that's why Zelensky said. Well, first he said it doesn't matter we Orthodox or Muslim. No, no, doesn't matter because they all in war. They all protect Ukraine. But then he realized, no, it's not something. It have to be white people
Mhm.
uh, screaming because we have. Uh, Orthodox Church, but in two
Right,
sizes, Kiev and Moscow.
right.
So
Gotcha.
yes, and he realized that he was mistaken, and he said,
Yeah.
"Okay, we will again."
I didn't realize the, amazing amount of political influence that they had. I mean, like, I understood that, they found political pamphlets and other things from the KGB or not KGB, the FSB, in some of these churches, maybe even some weapons or something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but, like, I was thinking like, "Okay, that's bad." But that they're using that to continue to propagate through their services even now during this time of war is a very different picture, and you were not hearing that in the West. So I'm glad that we're having this conversation. Oh, okay. So let me just ask, what else are we missing in this picture? What else do you want a Western audience that's listening right now to know about Russia today and their politics as it relates to the church and then as that relates to Ukraine?
Well, Russian Orthodox Church is really, really a serious question, and it's very, very bad situation in Ukraine. Uh, a few years ago, many years ago, it was Ukraine was separated for two parts. One of them look at Europe, one of them look in Russian, and all who look in Russian, they of course a Russian Orthodox Church.
Mhm.
Uh, who looks in Europe, they're Catholics, Orthodox Kiev, Ukrainian Orthodox Church, um, and some kind of different denominations. And it always was in only in Orthodox Russian Church. They say Russian is good, Ukraine is bad. And I was always curious why, and I discovered that it was just politics,
Mm.
because in part of Ukraine who looks in Europe, it was a really a lot resources for everything. We have a gas there, we have a water there, we have a culture there, and it's have to be destroyed by the Russian questions, by all the Russian wants to have. So now it's bad times for Ukraine because Russian Orthodox Church also in all of part of Ukraine, and they say Ukrainians there are just Bandera and there are just enemies, and we have to do something with it. But wait a minute, maybe wrong. Maybe we have to do something with you because
Mm.
you say that Russian in Ukraine have to be ruler, but we are in Ukraine, so Ukrainian have to be ruler. So maybe we have to stop it
Yeah,
at
it's so
least.
fascinating. As you're talking, I'm wondering what the Russian Orthodox Church is communicating in other parts of the world. I mean, we won't be able to sort that out here, but this conversation helped the Western audience that's English speaking that watches me to understand what is going on. And I want to thank you for your time. And thank you for being able to share that, reaching out to me. If you're wondering like how the connection was made, I gave a lecture at Open Christian Academy, and then this was one of the students that was there and reached back out and said, "Hey, I've got something to tell you. You've got to understand this." And this is great because now you all are hearing what's happening. Thank you so much for your time, and thank
Thank
you for
you.
sharing with me.